Hey, what's going on, everybody? Nicky D here, man. Coming at you live yet again. We're just walking down to an event, Blood in the Clock Tower. Figured we'd make a video while we're heading out. If I cut the video randomly, it's because some people got fairly close to me, and you know how it is. It's just awkward. Anyway, today's video, no, I wouldn't really say so much of a reaction video. We're not going to play any footage or anything, but I want to talk about something that's been kind of going on, I guess, in the last, about 2 weeks ago. And I think it's really interesting, and it's really piqued my interest. So here we go. So if you're not aware of what happened 2 weeks ago, there's a content producer called H3H3, Ethan Klein, the main person of the channel. He does like a podcast now. He used to be, I actually thought he was quite entertaining, and I don't watch him anymore. Like I stopped years ago. So I mean, I wouldn't even say I'm the biggest fan of him. But anyway, he had on a streamer. I think this guy actually doesn't stream on Twitch. I thought he did. XQC. I don't watch him or anything, as you can probably tell. But apparently he streams on like Kick or something, which I didn't even know Kick streamed. Kick's like a messaging app, if I'm correct. So I was quite surprised to hear that. Needless to say, they went on a debate. It's like an hour long, 2 hours, something like that. Anyway, they went on a debate about like fair use and copyright, because apparently, and I know both of them do it, but I think more XQC does it a lot more. But he'll like react to content on a live stream, right, for like a couple hours. And Ethan's points were all catered around, is this legal? Do you care? What about copyrights? They went through a bunch of things like that. And they also had XQC on a podcast that I actually watch quite religiously, which is EFAP, right? Which they go through like movies and shows and whatever, and they're very good, and they're very, very entertaining and very insightful. So they actually had a conversation on there with a guy named Mahler that I watch a lot and listen to. So I was really surprised I didn't hear about this. Anyway, so I've watched it a few times. I'm not like breaking it down or anything, but just overall thoughts, I guess, and how it went, that kind of thing. I don't know. We're just rambling. But yeah, like I said, you'll see a lot of the comments like that people are like, hey, I'm not maybe the biggest Ethan Klein fan, right? You'll see that a lot. But it's the like overwhelming majority have all been like, man, Ethan whopped. Like he just mopped the floor with this kid. And it's exactly what happened, you could tell, like, it was really funny. Like, I don't like really watch debates or anything, but you can really tell like when someone actually prepared for it and then someone just kind of showed up. And I think that's exactly what we saw happen. Sorry if it gets a little dark, by the way. It's just when I do filming, I just put on like manual settings, so it's just going to be like static on like ISO and stuff. So yeah, I think that, like I said, I think it's very obvious what happened. Like within like minutes of them talking, Ethan's already got a clip, playing that's like, oh, by the way, here's what you said. You're kind of contradicting yourself already. And we're minutes in. And, I would say it's fairly aggressive. And it was a good start because it immediately flusters him, because it's like you have your own clip playing back to you of you saying something, again, that contradicts him completely, which wasn't good. Yeah, XQC, like, again, I've never really watched him. I know of him, but I've never watched him. I've never had that interest. There's this random hat on the ground. Yeah, he's just like the way he was talking, like he's you can hardly understand him sometimes. He's speaking English, but it's like, it's not his accent. It's just he's going that fast. And I think a few words he said were just completely made up. There's some guy just stopped in the middle of the street. That's normal. Oh, there he goes. Still staring at me. I think that's one of the longest stares I've had. He was like literally driving through an intersection, and I counted. That was like 4 seconds that he just looked straight at me. No car coming. I was like, okay. Anyway, yeah. So, like you said, like it's, I don't know. I haven't watched his streams, but what I've been told anyway is that, and what I mean by what I've been told is what I actually saw in the debate and what they said was that apparently he just straight up goes to like the washroom and he'll just play a video and not even be there. Like he'll just be playing it, and the big conversation is like, why do you think people are watching React content, right? And I watch React content, like and usually what it is I'll watch like one of those like mashup ones where you have like a few people. But there was one guy I used to watch back in the day who did React content. Not like, I didn't really watch him a lot, but he'd come up and I would click a few videos here and there. And I remember he watched like a Naruto fight, right? Like Naruto, and the anime. So he's watching, I don't know who he was fighting, right? And like he was just sitting there talking, and you could hear him. He had no clue about the show. Like he straight up was just like, he's like, is that his brother? And it's like, no, like, like it's his teammate or something, right? But you could just tell, like the questions the guy would ask, like it would be like every minute would be the dumbest question you've ever heard if you were a fan of the show. So yeah, I don't think that's good. And I think I remember years, like this is a long while ago, but I think it's like Jack's Films, if I remember correctly. I think he's now actually criticizing Sniper Wolf for the same reacting content. Apparently hers is like really bad. Like she puts like no insightful commentary, and like every 2 minutes we'll just go like wow or haha. And you know, and then they get millions of views, right? And apparently what Sniper Wolf is doing is now what she's doing is reacting to people on like TikTok. They get like literally like 0 to 100 views a video. And the argument that Mahler had made in the video with XQC is like, do you think that's fair and morally correct to rip off of the other person of their work, you know? Because you know, I would argue with TikTok that they're probably not putting a lot of effort, like, and they could be, but I would argue for the most part, most of them probably aren't. Like they're not putting in a couple hours of effort. They're gonna put in like, you know, whatever amount of time. But I mean, you see a lot of like the video essay channels that are like hours. All right, well that was awkward. My SD card keeps like randomly not working. So like in the middle of my recording, it won't alert me. It'll just stop recording. So yeah, apparently we just lost the footage. Anyway, I don't know where I was at or where the video was at. So hopefully it's not too incoherent. Like hopefully I didn't just lose like 5 minutes of footage there. But I was like on I think I was on the 8 minute mark. So, but I was just talking about Sniper Wolf and how apparently she's reacting to TikTok people. Like TikTok channels that have like 0 to 100 views. That's just obviously a random number, but like it paints the number pretty quickly that they're extremely small channels, right? They're getting little to no viewership, and then apparently, just what I hear in the debate and stuff, is they're not being like shouted out or anything in it too. So it's just like you have someone with like millions of followers, right? They're watching it, they're getting all the views for it. And then what they're doing is then they're profiting off that, and they're not even going to the channel. Like they're not, you know what I mean? They're not like, I mean, at best, they're getting a link in the description, right? That no one's gonna click. And I was saying that there was this guy who used to watch it, that like reactions and didn't even know anything about the show. And I find that just as bad. It's like you're not even invested enough to learn, right? Anything about it. And XQC's arguments, like one of them was like about the lore. He's like, people want to know the lore. And he's like, no, there's a hot girl that's streaming, right? That's just making like one word comments throughout the video, and then, you know, calling that like transformative. And what I find funny about the whole debate was that, you know, Ethan Klein, H3H3, right? He went to court years ago for fair use, right? Like they literally got sued and won, right? Because they reacted to a video and they were like, yeah, the video was X length. We did X amount of content. Hang on. Yeah, and that's how it worked out, right? And I was like, what a better person. Like there's no better person to have this conversation with than him, right? Because he knows the ins and outs of how the system works. And that's what I just find very interesting, you know? So I just thought I really hate that the recording stopped halfway through because I had some good points, and I don't want to just reiterate because I don't know where it stopped. But overall, yeah, I think it's just kind of wild that that's still a debate that's happening. And I really do believe that I'm more on the side of Mahler, and you know, you almost hate to say you're on the side of Ethan Klein. Like you don't. I know not everybody always wants to agree with him, but it's like he's 100% correct. You know, you are. If you're doing that, that's one reason why I don't really like doing React content myself. I've kind of thought about it multiple times and I've just never gone through with it because it does kind of feel like you're just ripping off another person's work, you know, and putting your own over it. But that's the thing, if you edit it up, right, you put a lot of like critiquing whatever in it, like you add to it. But one of the examples that Ethan brought up, which I loved, was he gave him the runtime of the video, the original video. He gave him what he added to it in length and the percent of what that actually added. Okay, 1 second. We'll actually do a cut this time. Well, maybe not. Out across the road, but we're Gucci. Yeah, and he actually gave him the percent, and he's like, you know, you added like, I forget it was, like 7%. And, you know, he absolutely got him. Literally, like, there was no argument. What the fuck? There was no argument that he could made. And he added 40 seconds to like an over 8-minute video. Right? So he's like, you didn't really add anything. Yeah, which I thought was funny. So, I don't know. You're here first. All right, well, I don't know what else to say, guys. I just thought it was really cool. But like I said, I think, well, I'll say this in conclusion. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it's morally wrong to, like, if you're going to edit a video on YouTube, you're going to put cuts in, you know, you're going to stop it, you're going to talk about it, you're not going to show it in its entirety. I think you're doing perfectly fine. Okay, I got nothing wrong with that. I like that content. If you're going to not do that, not even attempt to reach out to the original owner, you know, like if you're going to do that and not reach out to the owner, I think that's fine because you've added enough to it. If you're going to live stream it and, you know, and barely speak, and then just, that's all your live stream is basically you just like randomly watching crappy videos and then not talking about it, or giving like absolutely awful reactions. And what I mean by awful is just like nothing insightful, you know, just like a laugh track, right? Just click a button and you ha ha ha. Like, it's baloney, right? It's absolutely baloney, and you shouldn't do it if you do that. So anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace. Oh, can't find the button to stop the camera.